Yo everyone, crazy main event result here guys, and I do want to say a lot in regards to my own thoughts of Henry Cejudo and the comments that he's receiving after the fight in regards to quitting, and I will be jumping into that. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about my bet results for the card itself and to update you guys on how the channel main event picks challenge is going. If you'd like to hear my thoughts on any fight in particular and pretty much skip straight to the recap and matchmaking of the main card fighters on the card, feel free to skip ahead with the timestamps that are in the description and the comment section below. As subscribers and poll voters on my channel, you guys chose as a majority Henry Cejudo to win this fight. Very unlucky outcome, but as we all know, the UFC can be very unpredictable and no result is ever the same. Currently, there has been 6 UFC events this year, meaning there has been 6 main event picks that have been completed so far. I'm currently sitting at 4 correct picks for the year, while you guys, the subscribers, are sitting at 3. So make sure you vote on this week's poll for UFC Fight Night Cap versus Almabayev if you want to be a part of this challenge. If you don't know what the challenge is, I will be doing some sort of reward / punishment for you, the subscribers. You just have to comment below some ideas for what you guys would like to see me do if you guys win, and I'll save them all and put the best ones in a poll at the end of the year for you to decide what gets chosen. Now to run you guys through how my bets went for this card. I had a 4-leg parlay on Nursulton, Ruziboev, Nikolay, Veretennikov, Mansur, Abdul-Malik by KO or decision, and Silva by KO or decision. A bit sad because I also had a single bet on Nikolay Veretennikov to get this one done, and he pretty much ruined those 2 bets for me by losing his fight to Austin Vanderford. I'll talk a bit more about that fight and his performance in that fight and his opponent's performance, but yeah, it was a rough one for those 2 bets. However, I did have 4 other very good solid bets and parlays that ended up making me a profit on this card, and if you want to know what they were, leave a comment in the comment section below and I'll reply to the very first person to ask about it. And if you'd like me to start putting my full bets in the prediction videos so you guys can tag along with me, if you even want to do that, let me know. But now to jump into the recap, and we're going to start with that crazy main event result. Yadong wins via technical decision stoppage due to Henry Cejudo not being able to recover for the 4th round due to the eye poke damage. And now I'll say this, man, I don't think he quit, but I'm not sure if he knew about the ruling or not, if the round actually ended and then the doctor was brought in that this fight would go to decision. I really don't know if he knew about that ruling. I keep seeing people say, oh, he knew and he thought he was going to win by decision. That's why he was actually trying to quit on purpose to try to get an easy win. And I don't think that's the case. Give Henry Cejudo the benefit of the doubt. I honestly think he should have stopped regardless though during the first 5-minute timeout, since we could keep hearing him say that he couldn't see, and that way he would have taken the no contest and wouldn't have had to even fight the rest of that round to get to the 4th round. And you know guys, if you can't see even out of one eye, you're putting yourself at a massive disadvantage, not only to win the fight, but Henry Cejudo could have taken life-altering damage, received a brutal KO, just by continuing. He should have really quit after the initial timeout instead of trying to last out the round. It's just not smart. Like I said, I'll give Henry Cejudo the benefit of the doubt in this situation, which seems like it's the unpopular opinion, but people don't realize how debilitating eye pokes can be. Even if he can open his eye and it looks fine, he could have massive damage. He had double vision, as far as what I know, severe vision impairment type things. Guys, come on. Anyways, solid win for Yadong. I had him up at least 2 rounds in this fight, of course, and I thought he was on his way of doing well, getting a win, but 2 fouls like that back to back, really disappointing. I really hate seeing that. I would have liked a point taken in my opinion, but to move on from the disappointment in the main event and to match these guys up, for Song's next fight, I would like him to run it back with Cejudo. He looks like he wants it too. He called for it in the post-fight interview. It could be a solid addition to a main card of a pay-per-view, maybe a feature fight of a pay-per-view or something. That's what I'd do. Run it back, do the rematch. To move on to the next fight, which was the co-main, in Anthony Hernandez getting the decision win over Brendan Allen. The guy is just a better and more technical grappler than Brendan Allen. It honestly looked like he wanted to win this fight more as well than Allen, in my opinion. Allen had his moments though, solid first round. Even in the second and third, the grappling exchanges were quite decent from both, but like I said in my prediction video, I just think that Hernandez was going to be the one to be one step ahead in the grappling exchanges here, just like their first fight, and it was almost identical to their first fight. So great performance from Fluffy in this one. As for what I'd like to see next from Anthony Hernandez, I don't know what's going on with the matchup or if they're even fighting soon, but I'd like to see him versus the loser of Whitaker and Baralho if they fight soon, or even if Adesanya wants to stay at this weight. This is sort of the fight he might need to take, although I don't think he will. For Brendan Allen, maybe give him a prospect now, maybe like a Reiner de Ridder, since they're trying to get him up inside the top 15. This is a very winnable matchup for him against a grappler as well too. That's the fight I would make. Now when we get to talking about Rob Font beating Gene Matsumoto and taking his O in this fight, I thought Rob Font won pretty clearly on damage in this fight watching it live. I couldn't understand people calling this robbery, but I'm gonna have to rewatch this fight sometime soon. Great performance from a veteran though, and he seems to be winning almost every time he's an underdog. He's pretty insane. I'd match him up against maybe a Mario Batista for a future fight. I know he wanted someone above him in the rankings, but I think if he can get a super solid fight, a super solid win against someone like Mario Batista, I think he deserves a really top guy in the rankings. As for Gene Matsumoto, lost to a veteran and a ranked contender in your division. No shame, young man. Maybe they could match you up against someone still decently ranked outside the rankings, like Adrian Yanez. Very winnable fight for him, but also quite dangerous, which makes it very exciting. That's the fight I would make. Now on to Gene Silva, and geez Louise, this guy is built differently from the rest, guys. He needs a ranked opponent right now, and he deserves one seriously. He just ran through someone who was actually quite dangerous in Melsik Baghdasaryan, and I don't care that he was a heavy favorite going into this one. It's still very impressive. Nasty left hook and right hand. Should have gave him the walk-off KO as well, but those ground and pound 12-6 elbows to finish to the body, it was really nasty work, man. For his matchup, he called him out. Give him Bryce Mitchell, give Gene Silva whatever he wants, UFC. The guy's your next star and contender, and I think he finishes Bryce pretty easily in my opinion. As for Melsik Baghdasaryan, give him someone decently ranked, still coming off a loss in Fernando Padilla. If you guys don't know who Fernando Padilla is, that could be another exciting stand-up fight, but a bit more winnable for him than fighting Gene Silva. Now on to the last fight and matchmaking of the card in Alonzo Menifield versus Julius Juicebox Walker, and solid fight from these boys. Both had to recover from being rocked bad in this fight, fighting through fatigue, accumulated damage, and you could tell both guys were drained after this fight. I thought Alonzo clearly won, but he was in danger quite a bit in this fight, especially in the first round. He took a lot of damage in this fight. Both guys need some time off, but to match make them for future fights, he just took out one Walker. Maybe he can take out another Walker in Johnny Walker. No relation to Julius Walker. At least I don't think so. Walter Walker is the only brother I know for Johnny Walker. I think that's a solid matchup for both guys. As for Julius Walker, could even give him someone like Ibo Aslan, who was on the prelims of this card. I think Julius could win that fight with his grappling 100% in my opinion. That's the fight I would make for that one. Now, on to the prelims, guys. We're finally here. I will give my quick recap of the prelims for you. Since they all ended in finish, I thought they were really worth highlighting. We had Cutelaba getting the submission win over Ibo Aslan. Very impressive performance. I thought this was a 50-50 going in. Not many people were choosing Cutelaba. I did, however, because I thought he could use his grappling in this fight, and he really showcased his grappling against Ibo Aslan here. Was able to get the submission win on the ground. Very impressive. Good stuff by him. Melquizael Costa was able to get the submission over Andre Fili. And Andre Fili was being a little silly in this fight, in my opinion. I don't know why he decided to take him down to the ground. But even though he did, it actually was a solid takedown. But then he just stuck his head into the guillotine and then didn't even try to work his way out of the submission. I don't understand why. It's still a great submission win for Costa, but just a bit disappointing as someone who picked Fili himself. Moving on to Mansur Abdul-Malik getting the KO win over Nick Klein. I thought this was more impressive since he was able to recover from getting rocked really bad in the first round. by Nick Klein with that spinning back fist. The guy recovered well, was able to get the KO in the second round. Would have been a crazy upset if he lost this one. But great stuff. Another finish for Mansur Abdul-Malik. The guy's a finishing machine. Another person who got a finish in this card, Ricky Simón gets a brutal KO over Javid Basharat. One of the worst KOs in terms of brutalness that I've ever seen. He was out really bad in this fight. I hope he's alright. Great win by Ricky Simón. Pretty unexpected. I did say in my prediction video that if Ricky Simón was going to win, it was going to be by KOing Javid Basharat, but I didn't think it was going to happen like that. Wow. Great performance. Austin Vanderford also surprised me by getting the KO win with ground and pound versus Nikolay Veretennikov. Didn't expect it at all. I thought Veretennikov, with his experience fighting really tough guys in the division inside the UFC, would be able to handle the grappling against Austin Vanderford, but he just got outworked. Looked like Austin Vanderford was the stronger guy in this fight. Pretty much put a beat down on him, taking him to the ground, working him on the ground. Great performance from Austin Vanderford, very surprising. Moving on to Nursulton, Ruziboev getting the KO over Eric McConico. He was just a step ahead of Eric McConico. I thought he was outmatched from the beginning. I wasn't shocked about the KO finish. I thought he should get the KO finish in this fight. We need to talk about him getting a higher ranked opponent, for sure. And lastly, last fight of the card, and the first opening fight of the card, Modestas Bukauskas getting the KO win over Rafael Cerqueira. Probably get Rafael Cerqueira out of the UFC in my opinion, and this is not even because I dislike the fighter. I sort of do because of the performances he's putting on, but I just think it's a danger thing. Like, the guy's just putting himself in danger in the UFC and is taking damage that he doesn't need to receive. Like, put him on the regional scene again, put him in different promotions. I'm sure he could do quite well. He seems quite technical, but he just gets backed up too easily, and then he chooses to not move anymore. He will not change direction, move laterally, get out of danger. He just backs up, stays in one spot. And against guys in the UFC, you're just going to get finished, especially in your weight class. So, impressive performance by Modestas Bukauskas, but very unimpressive performance by Rafael Cerqueira. That wraps up my UFC Fight Night Cejudo vs Song recap and matchmaking video about the card. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and a comment below letting me know. Also, I appreciate the recent increase in engagement on my prediction videos this month. It means a lot to me, since my goal right now, although I do make these videos for fun, it would be cool if my channel got monetized in the future. It seems like a cool goal to have, guys. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you guys next time.